Bruce and the Spider. Story for improving English by listening. Meanings for all the hard words are given in the description. Bruce and the Spider. There was once a king of Scotland whose name was Robert Bruce. He had the need to be both brave and wise, for the times in which he lived were wild and rude. The King of England was at war with him, and had led a great army into Scotland to drive him out of the land. Battle after battle had been fought. 6 times Bruce had led his brave little army against his foes, and 6 times had his men been beaten and driven into flight. At last his army was scattered, and he was forced to hide himself in the woods and in lonely places among the mountains. One rainy day, Bruce lay on the ground under a shed listening to the patter of drops on the roof above him. He was tired and sick at heart and ready to give up all hope. It seemed to him that there was no use for him to try to do anything more. As he lay thinking, he saw a spider over his head, making ready to weave her web. He watched her as she toiled slowly and with great care. 6 times she tried to throw her frail thread from one beam to another, and 6 times it fell short. "Poor thing," said Bruce, "you, too, know what it is to fail." But the spider did not lose hope with the 6th failure. With still more care, she made ready to try for the 7th time. Bruce almost forgot his own troubles as he watched her swing herself out upon the slender line. Would she fail again? No! The thread was carried safely to the beam, and fastened there. "I, too, will try a 7th time," cried Bruce. He arose and called his men together. He told them of his plans, and sent them out with messages of cheer to his disheartened people. Soon there was an army of brave Scotchmen around him. Another battle was fought, and the King of England was glad to go back into his own country. I have heard it said that, after that day, no one by the name of Bruce would ever hurt a spider. The lesson which the little creature had taught the king was never forgotten. Let us enjoy reading this tale of when truth dawned. Ryakan, the Zen teacher, was requested by his sister-in-law to come to her house and talk to her son. He does no work, squanders his father's money in wild parties, and is neglecting the estate, she complained. If he does not reform, we will be ruined. Ryakan went to his brother's house and met his nephew, who was genuinely pleased to see him. The two of them had spent many happy hours together before Ryakan had turned to Zen and entered the monastery. The young man knew why his uncle had come and braced himself for the scolding he was sure he would receive. But Ryakan said not a word in rebuke the whole day. The next morning, when it was time for him to go, he put on his garments and then said to his nephew, "Will you help me tie the thongs of my sandals? My hands shake and I cannot do it." His nephew helped him willingly. "Thank you," said Ryakan. A man becomes older and feebler day by day. You remember how strong and robust I used to be? I do, said his nephew, thoughtfully. I do indeed remember how you used to be. It was the moment of truth for him. He suddenly realized that his mother and all those who had looked after him had become old, and that it was now his turn to look after them and to take on the responsibilities of the household and the community. He gave up his dissolute life forever. Bruce and the Spider. Story for improving English by